Welcome back to Offroad Outlaws, guys, and today we have multiple things to talk about that are wildly different than anything that I thought we were going to see in this upcoming update, like floating ramps, jet boats, jet skis, all sorts of wild, wacky, over-the-top stuff. But first, I'm gonna have some coffee, and then we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Now, all of the upcoming screenshots that you're about to see were released by a Offroad Outlaws developer in the Offroad Outlaws official Facebook group. And one of the most exciting ones is this, a confirmed in-game shot of a working jet ski blasting across a lake. That right there is one of the most exciting things that I have ever seen in terms of, like, even just a teaser of a screenshot of something in Offroad Outlaws and actually something being used in gameplay. And one of the things that I also noticed about that shot, and you guys will notice a lot about a lot of the rest of these pictures, is especially when you're looking at the boats, one of the biggest highlights of that visually is going to be going along the water. And the water looks really, really, really good. I mean, the water looks spectacularly good. And remember, this is a freaking mobile game. I mean, not only is this update a overhaul of the vehicles and the addition of multiple new vehicle types, but it's also a full graphical overhaul. Now, the subject of this next shot that I'm about to show you guys is really, really interesting, and I think will add a lot to the boat-focused and water-focused races. Here, you can see a jet ski approaching a floating ramp that will launch it over a bridge. That right there is super reminiscent of some of the water racing games from the late 90s and early 2000s, which you guys can definitely let me know what your favorite one of those was in the comment section down below. And while we're at it, let me know in the comments below what you're most excited for. Is it the jet skis, the boats, the jet boat itself, like all of these different vehicles that are being added to the game? Or maybe it could be the subject of the next picture we're going to be talking about, and that is going to be a mud-covered Wagoneer. Now, as we look at this picture, we can see that a lot of things have been changed. First of all, the actual density of the mud and the way it populates on the vehicle is obviously completely different than the way it did before, but also the way it is packed into the tread of the tires is completely different from the way it does right now. I mean, again, we go back to the idea of a full graphical overhaul, and that is absolutely what you're seeing right here in the way that that mud is actually showing up on the vehicle. Now, players that do a lot of mudding or a lot of mega truck racing or a lot of any kind of gameplay that has to do with a lot of interaction with mud are going to be really happy with this, I think, because at the end of the day, it's going to make it look a lot more realistic. It's going to make it look a lot more believable, because when you drive a vehicle into mud in real life, that stuff packs in. It packs into the tires, it packs into the fender wells, it packs into the side steps and into the sides of the vehicle, and that does a much better job of conveying that type of look than the game did previously, which I think is a very welcome change, and I think the mud-focused community in Offroad Outlaws is also going to be very appreciative of that change as well. Circling back around to aquatic vehicles again, this thing has a freaking rocket booster coming out of the back of it. That is not only a jet boat, that's a freaking rocket jet boat, and also it's headed directly for a loop that looks to be possibly floating on the water. So once again, tons of improvements that at the end of the day, none of us ever expected. I, for one, didn't expect any of these updates to be at the forefront of what they would be showcasing in the development of this update, and I know that there's going to be a lot of questions about, like, you know, when is this update coming? What are they actually saying about the release date of the update? And I actually have a word on that from the developers right here. And they basically said that they're still working on it, but it's been a ton of fun, and they also go on to say, I will not say when the update is going to release, it will be released when it is ready. They then go on to ask if anyone can see what the difference is with the muddy truck, obviously talking about the mud-covered Wagoneer, and basically what they're going after is, in my opinion, obviously they're talking about the way the mud is actually packing onto the vehicle, packing into the tires, and packing onto the underbody of the vehicle as well. And if you guys can spot anything else in terms of the picture of that Wagoneer, let me know any and all of those thoughts and opinions on it in the comment section down below. Now, speculation time. When do I think the update is coming? Well, to be brutally honest, it's very hard to say because at the end of the day, these updates take a lot of time and they take a lot of development and they take a lot of testing. And there's obviously going to be a lot of back and forth between developing a new feature and then testing it, making sure it works, and then going back and implementing it into the game, and then developing another feature, testing it, making sure it works, and then implementing that into the game. So there's obviously a process involved here with going through and making sure each one of these individual pieces of the update work perfectly. Now, as far as what I would hope, I mean, I would really hope that we are going to see the update within a month's time, but then again, at the end of the day, you know, if it's going to take a month and a half, for example, but the update is going to be like super polished as opposed to it taking a couple of weeks and being super glitchy and all over the place, I would rather wait a month and a half. Now, some people understand that viewpoint, some people don't. Some people are like, no, I just want it right now. I don't care if it has bugs and glitches. And there are other people that are like, hey, you know, however long it takes is however long it takes. I just want a polished update. And I definitely think that I fit a little bit more into that mindset, a little bit more into that mentality, because really at the end of the day, I want the game to run smoothly. I want it to be a fun experience for everybody. I want it to be a polished, smooth experience for everybody. And I want us to all be able to just jump into the game and enjoy it without having to worry about anything else that could have been solved before the update went out. So I, for one, am glad that they're taking their time. I'm glad that they're taking their time to work out the bugs. Glad that they're taking their time to implement all of these new features, because really when this update drops, I feel like, you know, when you combine all of these new vehicles and new types of gameplay with an entire graphical overhaul, at the end of the day, you really are basically going to have an entirely new Offroad Outlaws. I mean, it almost feels like we're talking about Offroad Outlaws 2. Now, quickly switching back to the topic of boats and boat customization, here we can see what a customized boat could potentially look like. Now, obviously, you have the camo graphic on the boat itself, and you also have two flags on the boat that are also angled back, just like you can do when you're customizing your trucks. Now, obviously, these are Offroad Outlaws flags, but you guys can let me know in the comment section down below which flag or multiple flags you plan on running on your boats, and if this one, for example, is one of the boats that you plan on building. Now, we haven't really seen anything yet, or at least as of recording this video, we haven't really seen anything in the regards of boat trailers or jet ski trailers, but then again, at the end of the day, you're going to have a way to get those from your garage into the water, essentially. You're going to have a way to tow them there, and I think that boat trailers would be an absolutely incredible element of gameplay, and I'm really hoping, and really just like really hoping internally, that we see a pretty good sized selection of boat trailers making the jump into the game when these boats drop as well. Now, obviously, there is more to see. There are more questions to be answered. The developers just haven't given us all of those answers yet, and I, for one, cannot wait to see more, and also cannot wait whatsoever to get my hands on the latest update. And keep in mind, if we look back to some of the stuff that they shared previously, you've got the Tundra, you've got the F-750, you've got all of these other vehicles that are coming, you've got the new Land Rover coming, you've got like all sorts of new stuff. And like I said before, at the end of the day, this is going to be, I think, the biggest update that we have ever seen for this game. So at this point in the video, I would love to hear from you guys down there in the comments below. What is the part of the update that you are most excited about? It could be anything. It could be any one of the new trucks that's coming. It could be the jet skis. It could be the boats. It could be a customization feature. It could be graphics. It could be the potential for new roleplay types that the boats and jet skis provide. It could be all of the new potential for different types of maps that could be created if you're a map creator. Now, when we stream Offroad Outlaws, there's actually a couple of map creators that stop by the streams, and one of them is really good at creating racing-based maps, and I would personally love to see a jet ski / boat racing map. I think that would be the absolute coolest freaking thing. The absolute coolest freaking thing. But then again, I keep thinking about it, and I also think about the fact that, like, let's say we had a complete roleplay environment, right? Where you had, you know, your house and a barn or a little farm or something like that, and you could literally hook up your trailer with your boat on it or your jet skis on it, tow them out to the lake with your buddies, and have fun, you know, out on like a Saturday or something, chilling out on the lake, like, you know, take your truck out there, take your boats out there, put them in the lake, have some fun, and then load them back up, drive back to your house. I mean, that would be some of the coolest roleplay action to actually ever take place in Offroad Outlaws, in my opinion, especially if you're one of the people that's really into that realistic roleplay dynamic. And like I said before, I think there's a lot for the mud truck guys to be excited for as well, with the total graphical overhaul and the total overhaul of the way the mud interacts with the vehicles. I mean, think about it. You load up your mud truck, you take it out to the mud bogs, and when you bring it back, it is gonna be filthy after this update. It's going to be absolutely covered in mud. But then again, at the end of the day, that's half the fun of a mud truck, is just absolutely getting it covered in the stuff. So once again, let me know any and all of your thoughts and opinions on this upcoming update in the comment section down below. And if you guys are new around here and you would like to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. And I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to y'all later, and I hope you guys enjoyed.